going to preface this video now. The Harbingers are not good people. Some are less vile than others, some are questionable at the moment, but some are confirmed to be downright sadistic and relish in the pain of other people. And today, as my first entry to what I will now be dubbing as Harbinger Week, welcome to the questionable deeds of each Harbinger, where I will be talking about our pretty 9 people and the suspicious deeds that they have done against humanity. Or about to. Who knows? But first I want to put an announcement that I'll be posting my history of all the Harbingers tomorrow, or the day after that, so stay tuned. I'm really just waiting for 2.8 to drop so I can add more information if ever there's new releases, though I do have the script basically done. Also a disclaimer, I will also be referring to these Harbingers with their divisions, meaning that they may not have directly done it or even facilitated it, but their division has also made questionable decisions motivated by the Harbingers' orders. Why? Because I can. Also, I can't cover everything in this video, just some that I found particularly interesting. Let's begin with the first Harbinger, Piero. The first questionable thing that Piero did was actually in 1.1 where he was first name-dropped. He didn't warn Scaramouche about the potential coma-inducing effects of the meteors. But another one was the actions of his division during the Inazuma Archon quest. Piero's division facilitated the fall of Watatsumi Island, the distribution and creation of delusions, and the prolonging of the battle in Inazuma. If you can remember, it was the Fatui's actions that motivated for both sides to continue their fighting, with Senora colluding with one side and Scaramouche on the other. However, a spy by the name of Nathan was the true perpetrator of what happened in Inazuma. Piero's division was tasked with releasing the Tatarigami and investigating the effects that they have on the residents of Higi Village. This was done under Piero's prerogative as seen in all the notes you find during the World Quest Clean House. These are notes regarding the electro wards left by the Raiden Shogun, the possible effects should the sealed remains of a god be released, with an attached addendum, an observational report of the afflicted in Higi Village. The final section details the completion of a special operation. The whole report has been signed as being left by a Fatuus by the name of Nathan. You can also see a snippet of the orders of a naval officer named Burenka. Be sure to withdraw with all haste and bring the new Inazuman recruits who retrieved the secret report that Nathan wrote to the First Lord Harbinger. To prevent any repercussions from this incident, no one must know about the inner workings of what happened on Yashiori Island. New recruits do not have any innate value to the overall goals of the Fatui, and need not be trained in any way. They will, however, do just as fine as living test samples. I am very certain that Piero has done more atrocities in his lifetime, but at the moment, we don't know about them. Capitano and Colombina both don't have any confirmed questionable actions. Colombina doesn't even have any screen time at the moment save for the trailer, and this was also her first ever confirmation of being an existing character. Capitano was name-dropped by Victor once, but Victor simply said that he'd prefer working under Capitano than Senora. Next is the Tora. Oh boy. This one might be a long one. The Tora's crimes against humanity date back before the conception of the game. In the manga, where he was first released, the Tora's division was in charge of experimenting on children by pitting them against a strange tentacle monster. They have a secret dungeon known as Heresies, and this is where they bring kidnapped children. There have been a total of 139 contenders. The Tora's division is also willing to lie to other nations and take their children, making up stories that the youth are much better soldiers because they are spry and energetic. The Tora's division also injected people and children with the substance inside delusions, and basically experimented on them to see if they are worthy. The Tora may not have been the forefront of the operation, but the project was under his jurisdiction. He even threatened the man who was conducting the experiment by saying that it would be on his life to pay if they run out of ideas and bodies. The Tora is also not afraid to commit blasphemous acts of friendly fire. He quickly disposes of people that he deems as threats to the secrecy of the Fatui, and is very willing to kill even those that have been deathly loyal to him. There was also a mysterious ploy that the Tora did that involved indebting the entirety of Mondstadt to the Fatui by quote-unquote slaying Ursa the Drake. The ploy, as deduced by Kaia and Diluc, was to lure the massive dragon into the city to cause havoc and then have the Fatui swoop in to kill Ursa the Drake to boost their status in Mondstadt. An overall great guy! Pulcinella. Now don't let this mustache fool you. This was the same person that also spearheaded the attack on Liyue Harbor alongside the other Harbingers. According to the Chasm Fatui World Quest, the attack on the surface realm was under Pulcinella's discretion, and that it was an endeavor of greater meaning. However, Pulcinella is willing to abandon his direct subordinates and won't hesitate to dispense less valuable assets, according to Staff Sergeant Anton Melnikov. This means that Pulcinella had a big hand in Chasm and Liyue Harbor exploration and extortion, which is questionable in and of itself. Scaramouche. What's not to say about this one? Besides being a massive douchebag of a boss, being known as the most hated Fatui Harbinger even amongst his own peers and division, constantly running his own mouth when unneeded, slapping a subordinate just to see their confusion, willingly selling illegal weapons to the Watatsumi resistance, relishing in their pain and suffering by justifying that they were all going to die one day, his absolute betrayal of the organization he is currently working for, the near assassination of a whole art of weaponsmithing also known as the Raiden Gokaden, poisoning the traveler using the power of a dead god, leaving a co-worker to die by a mysterious relic of the god. I truly wonder. What a great guy. Sandrone. We have no idea what Sandrone is currently doing, but there is one time that a Fatui agent named Javert was yelled at. We can see that in the description of Tartalia's trailer. Senora. Fun fact, Senora doesn't have a lot of questionable deeds in her time as the Fatui. At least, not to the brutal friendly fire extent as the Tora and Scaramouche. Besides Tartalia mentioning that she uses lethal force on her subordinates, Senora's more questionable atrocities are towards taking Venti's Gnosis, conspiring with Zhongli to manipulate Child, the Adepti, and Liyue Harbor as one really big test, and also the colluding of Senora and the Kujo clan. Though, her division did steal the Holy Lyre during the Mondstadt Archon quest to harness the power of the Animal Archon. Other than that, Senora hasn't done anything overtly above political manipulation, given she doesn't really like being on the field. Antalone. Now, Pantalone in and of himself doesn't seem suspicious. I don't count the Northland Bank as a questionable atrocity given diplomatic relations always require you to expand your boundaries, even in our world. But the most questionable thing that he has done is the assassination attempt of Uncle Chen and the monopolization of the wine industry. Pantalone's agent, Landa, was sent to Mondstadt under the guise of a merchant so that he can study, infiltrate, and jeopardize the circulation of the wine industry, also known as Mondstadt's largest industry at the moment. But you can still argue that what he's doing is just business. Shady tactics, yes, but business nevertheless. What isn't a business tactic though is the assassination attempt at Uncle Qian during Yelan's story quest. Whether that's purely facilitated by him or simply just a byproduct of his division's actions is unknown. But nevertheless, it's still an assassination attempt. Arriquino. All things considered, what I'm about to tell here isn't Arriquino's jurisdiction, but rather done without the approval of the Harbinger. She sent her agents to Inazuma. However, some of them acted outside of acceptable behavior. They plotted to sabotage the peace talks between the Shogun's army and the Watatsumi resistance by poisoning Watatsumi's water supplies. The agents relished in the idea that all the orphans from this operation will be sent to Arriquino's orphanage in Snezhnaya, effectively becoming child soldiers separated from their homeland. However, they did not inform Arriquino of this operation, and were recalled to Snezhnaya before the operation could be carried out. Again, Arriquino's true motivations are unknown to us, and the true purpose of the orphanage is an overall mystery. But at the very least, what's on her entry at the moment isn't under her approval. Allegedly, Tartalia. Tartalia's most questionable deed in the current story of Genshin is the entire Liyue Archon quest. Despite his personality, we are warned by several characters, even Tartalia's own senior Pulcinella, not to trust this man, which effectively came to fruition in the Archon quest. Tartalia didn't want to involve innocent lives and didn't relish in the fact that citizens will get caught. But unfortunately, it is just business. But that doesn't erase the fact that he was a clear accomplice of a potential mass genocide of the reawakening of a dead god, much like Senora and Pulcinella were. But yes, that's it! The list of questionable things that the Fatui have done. But I can guarantee you that this list will be much longer in the future, and I can trust that this list will double by the time that the Harbingers get released in 3D. But nevertheless, my name is Aster and thank you for chilling with me. See you all tomorrow with a proper Fatui history video.